It's about tribal warfare. Okay. That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the UK. You're from India, so I don't really.
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, so
I'm an American
you
citizen.
have your own states.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely.
Okay.
But here's the thing.
Not sure how you got that. Okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the claim here, okay?
But you're
a little different.
But you're
than
a
yours.
descendant of immigrants, settlers, colonialists.
Yeah,
you
colonials.
You don't look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about?
You're
Whites
not.
are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
what was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
I don't mind going on a tangent, but what was happening before the 1500s?
Calm down. I think you're getting.
What was happening before the 1500s?
There was indigenous people here that came here from Asia.
Do you know what indigenous means?
Listen, before
indigenous
America,
people come from somewhere else.
Why do you ask a question if you're going to interrupt?
I'm not sure if you know what the meaning of indigenous means.
I do know what it means. It means
sound
they
like
came here first, right? They came here from Asia by way of land bridge. Have an argument with Neil deGrasse Tyson or anybody else about that. I don't care.
Is he an American?
I genuinely don't care. Yes, he is.
Okay, just checking.
My point is, okay?
Nothing to do with crime. So far, you've agreed with me that these people are
Because you're
criminals.
derailing, dude. I'm trying to stay on track.
You literally sat down and asked me where I'm from. I think you derailed this conversation from the get-go.
By that, but I'm
because I'm offended. I'm just wondering what it has to do with crime.
I'm always curious.
We're going to talk about immigration. Don't worry. Later on, you can come back.
I hope so.
Right now, you're doing a very bad job of making the case that he's not pro-crime.
I just got a round of applause. I could probably get another one actually if I asked for it.
Wow.
So I don't think I'm doing
this bad.
Is
this how you
bad.
get rounds of applause? You sit in a room with 20 people who agree with you. Wow, amazing. Amazing.
Crossing borders is only heroic when white people do it. I hate to break it to you, Settler Dan, but your ancestors, and mine too, were the original illegal aliens. What do you call white people who cross the ocean, show up uninvited to land already inhabited by indigenous people who have lived there for thousands of years, and then destroy their cultures, their languages, their religion, and impose your own? Settlers, or rather, colonizers. And then what do you call people of color who cross the border, work jobs that nobody else wants to work, pay taxes, and try to build a life in the so-called land of opportunity? Illegals. Illegal aliens. Criminals. If you're white, it's exploration. You're a pioneer. You're a settler. And if you're not, you're an invader. And for the record, it wasn't the colonizers that built the United States. It was the immigrants that came after them from every corner of the globe. They built the railroads, the roads, the factories, the farms. They built the United States.
Family, when you hear the word Native American, what comes to your mind? Is it the people who've been living in America for thousands of years, or the European settlers who arrived just few centuries ago? Today, we want to separate fact from fiction. Many a times, white people in America are called natives. Many a times, they are not called, immigrants like other people who live in America. On today's video, we want to debunk this fact. So fam, I have compiled a series of videos from the internet. And fam, I want you to listen to these videos keenly. Once they are done, we will get back and do a critical analysis about the same. Let's watch this video together, family.
Oh, Richard. First of all, that's completely wrong. And second of all, you're messing with Jeanette Reyes, which is one of mine. And as a Latina, I'm here to prove her point. So I'm going to give you a history lesson, son. You might want to pull up a chair and grab a pen and pay attention. All right? Because what I'm going to tell you is history and facts. Now I'll start with, did you know that white immigrants started coming into this country between the 18 and 1900s from Europe, from places like Poland, Italy, Germany, Ireland, right? Today, it's people from Slovenia, like Melania Trump, South Africa, like Elon Musk, right? They started coming here. And guess what, Richard? Step in so you can hear me. They were undocumented, and a lot of them overstayed their welcome. And there has never been a law that targeted white immigration. Go look it up. Did you know that the first law was in 1892? And guess who it targeted? I know you don't know. But But the law was called the Chinese Exclusion Act. And it was the first immigration law going specifically after one ethnic group. And while during that, after they passed that law, they still set quotas for white immigrants to be here while they restricted immigrants from countries like Asia, Africa, and guess what? Latin America. Right? And while white immigrants have been here undocumented and still are, you don't see ICE raiding Irish pubs, right? And you don't hear about white immigrants stealing jobs. And you don't see the media painting white immigrants as a threat to society. Okay? Let me make sure I get all my notes. Okay? And while white people came here, or white immigrants came here and faced deportation, there was never a system to persecute them as it has been for the Black, Indigenous, Asian, or Latin communities. Okay? So with that being said, Richard, yes, immigration has always been about race. And race has played a big part on who gets punished for being here illegally and those who do not. But I digress. There goes your history lesson from a Latina.
So I posted my white people are not Native American video a while ago, but I'm still getting comments to this day saying that if a white person was born here, they are Native American. And I just want to remind you that that is not what the man in the Jubilee video was talking about. He was saying that white people are Native Americans. Like, they are from here. We have a claim to this land. And that's not true. And I need you to think about it in terms of, like, an invasive species. Asian lady beetles are not from here. They kill native plants. They kill off, native bugs even, too, because they're fighting for resources. Those beetles did not originate from here, and they're harming the ecosystem, which is why they're bad. Ladybugs are from here. So if something did not originate from here, and I can't believe I'm having this conversation, but it's not from here. There's a difference between ethnicity and nationality. Ethnicity, white people are not.
Immigrants overall are good for America.
Do you care more about helping Americans or immigrants in this claim?
Immigrants are Americans. I'm an immigrant and an American.
Well, immigrants are not Americans. Americans are the people that were born here.
That's not true.
I always think it's funny when individuals come to argue that have weak arguments like that. And it shows either you didn't learn something that you were supposed to about history in middle school or high school, or you didn't learn it when and if you went to college. And that is that every person who's from the 13 colonies is an immigrant. How and why, you ask? Here's why. Because all of the people that came to establish the 13 colonies came from overseas. They came from Europe, sailed across the ocean, landed, and said, let's settle here, immigrants. When they built homes, that made them settlers. But they didn't stop being immigrants. So all of you that are white, you're immigrants. And it's not just people who are white. There are people who are immigrants that came from other parts of the world. It's called immigration. But Republican leadership wants to lie and falsely say, we're more American than anyone that was here before us. You're stupid. Because being American is what this is. It's the Americas. And it was that before you landed. So that's called hate. That's called racism, ethnocentrism, etc. There's a long list of all kinds of words, and that's great. We're just trying to keep this broad and easy, everybody. So before the immigrants from Europe came and established the 13 colonies, for over 30,000 years, there had been millions of people already here. For instance, look at me, Latino. That means that I have a bloodline of over 30,000 years of people before the Europeans came. So let's continue on to another thought, and that is that Republican leadership and white-only society, meaning white-only communities, are after a white-only society. You have organizations such as the KKK. You have individuals that cover their face and go around with a flag that's a Confederate flag, or has the German Hitler symbol on it and say whites only. And they're all over the United States. So that is a narrow view of history. That's why you see this, that in our public education system, the Republican leadership trying so hard to push who Americans are. My message right now to all of everyone in the United States of America and all of the Americas, that if you were already here, you're more American than anyone white that came from across the ocean, that they are immigrants. They are the true immigrants. And there's enough history books, there's enough scholarship, and there's enough behind that.
Imagine being in a room where someone says that white people are Native Americans, and then everyone in that room cheering and clapping.
It's about tribal warfare. Okay. That's where we're at in the U.S. I don't know where you're at in the UK. You're from India, so I don't really...
I'm not from India.
Oh, sorry, your parents are from India, yeah. So
I'm an American citizen.
You have your own states.
I'm an American, you know.
You're an American citizen? Yes. Okay, fair enough. I don't know how you got that, but fair enough. Here's the thing.
Are you an American citizen?
Absolutely. Okay. But here's the thing.
Not sure how you got that, but okay.
Born here.
Okay.
Born here, and my family lineage is settlers from the 1500s, so I have some stake in the claim here, okay?
But you're
a little different.
But you're a descendant of immigrants. Settlers.
I didn't know.
Colonialists.
Yeah,
you don't
colonials.
Look very Native American to me.
I am Native American. Whites are Native Americans. What are you talking about?
You're not.
What are you talking about? Whites are Native Americans.
Really?
I think
what was happening before the 1500s?
I think you're getting confused with it.
What? That's exactly what happened. On the Jubilee video, one progressive surrounded by 20 far-right conservatives, and I am drained from watching the first 10 minutes of this video. But this clip is so insane that they really believe that white people are like, how do we go anywhere from here? I don't even know. I don't even know what to say. It's just so insane that their ancestors committed genocide on Native Americans, and now they're claiming to be Native American. Like, bro, help.
We are a nation of immigrants. This country was not built by immigrants. This country was built by settlers.
They did not build something from nothing. They butchered everything that was already here and then called it progress. These settlers are genocidal thieves who could not do anything without enslaving another race. Only reason you're even defending settlers so hard right now is because you know your entire existence is inherited theft. This country was not built by settlers. It was bled into existence by people your ancestors enslaved. Y'all did not do anything but enslave. You were born on third base with blood already on your cleats.
It's surprisingly unclear to a lot of people. Immigration law is and always has been about making sure America has enough white folks. A lot of Eastern Europeans who came here in the 90s came over on diversity visas and genius visas. They called them diversity visas, but these were the countries that qualified. Maybe it's me, but ecru and eggshell seem to be the same color. And since I know there's always that one person who does not believe me, I will prove it to you. Tell me when your family came over here, and I will tell you how they got here. I will tell you the benefits they received for being white when they got here. I'm serious. If one person brings me an example of a white person who didn't benefit from whiteness, I will issue a public apology.
Crossing borders is only heroic when white people do it. I hate to break it to you, Settler Dan, but your ancestors, and mine too, were the original illegal aliens. What do you call white people who cross the ocean, show up uninvited to land already inhabited by indigenous people who have lived there for thousands of years, and then destroy their cultures, their languages, their religion, and impose your own? Settlers, or rather, colonizers. And then what do you call people of color who cross the border, work jobs that nobody else wants to work, pay taxes, and try to build a life in the so-called land of opportunity? Illegals. Illegal aliens. Criminals. If you're white, it's exploration. You're a pioneer. You're a settler. And if you're not, you're an invader. And for the record, it wasn't the colonizers that built the United States. It was the immigrants that came after them from every corner of the globe. They built the railroads, the roads, the factories, the farms. They built the United States.
Family Native Americans are the indigenous people of the land now called the United States, whose ancestors lived here for thousands of years before the European arrived. White Americans are generally descendants of immigrants from Europe, such as Britain, Ireland, Germany, Italy, etc., who came from the 15th century. The confusion sometimes comes from the fact that the term American can mean a citizen of the United States regardless of the ancestry, but in historical and ethnic terms, Native American refers specifically to the original people of the continent. Many white folks today are citizens. They are Americans. But when they start claiming that they are natives, that is where the line is drawn. And that is what exactly you've just seen rather in the video, where the guy who insisted that he's native has been corrected and told facts. You could be a settler in America. You've been settling there. Your forefathers were settlers. Your grandparents were born there. Your parents were born there. Then you yourself, you're born there. You may be American, but now saying you're native, saying you're indigenous, the indigenous people of America, that's false. That is next to impossible. So far, I went further to do my research, and here's what I found out. Indigenous people of the Americas were tribes such as the Cherokee, Navajo, Apache, and hundreds more. Archaeological evidence shows native presence in North America for over 15,000 years. That is even before the coming of the Europeans to the Americas. Complex societies with farming, trade networks, governance systems, and spiritual traditions deeply tied to the land. You notice that there was spirituality before the Europeans came to America. There was governance system before the Europeans and trade networks. So who are these white Americans? These are people with the Europe origin. Most descendants come from England, Ireland, Germany, Italy, France, Poland, and other European countries. The first sustained European settlements in North America began in the 1600s. Jamestown in 1607 and Plymouth in 1620. Over the next 300 years, Europeans pushed westward, taking land from native tribes through treaties, wars, and forced removal. The myth that white people are native by birth is just comes about by some white Americans born in the US, may call themselves native because they were born here. But being Native American is an ethnic and cultural identity, not just a birthplace. It must go deeper to your culture, to your ethnicity, not just an issue of being born. Being born in China doesn't make someone ethnically Chinese. It makes them a citizen, not a member of the indigenous people. And that is where the guy in the video had messed up. That is what he did not understand. He thought being a white person born in America made him a native or made him the indigenous person. An indigenous person is somebody whose roots, culture, and is ethnically connected to where he comes from. The displacement of native people came about, and there were disease and population collapse. Up to 90% of native populations died from diseases brought by Europeans. When the Europeans came to colonize, they came with diseases that made the natives die. Examples include the Trail of Tears in the 1830s. Thousands of Cherokee, Cree, and Seminole forced from their lands. By 1900, Native Americans had lost over 98% of their original lands in the US. The modern reality is that the Native Americans make up less than 2% of the US population today. Just imagine that the Native Americans, make only 2% of the US population today. White Americans now form the majority, but their ancestry still traces back to Europe, not the original peoples of the land. White Americans are not Native Americans. They are settlers and descendants of settlers. Knowing the difference matters because history is not just about where you are, it's about where you came from and whose footsteps you're standing on. Family, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about this argument of native and indigenous people and immigrants, in this video. Kindly like the video, and I'd really appreciate because it will be recommended to other YouTube users. Lastly, kindly do consider subscribing to the channel. We are currently on the road to 50,000 subscribers, and guys, I'd really appreciate if you all would take your time to share this video with your friends and family. Thank you guys, and see you all in our next episode. Goodbye for now.